Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in. Today's video doing the second season model roundup winter of 2016-2017 for today's video. I've only done one of these so far this season, that was at the start of September. This is the second one. There'll be a final one at the end of November, and then of course we're going to put the models with the winter updates. We've done 7 winter updates so far. There's another few more to go. We're going to get to 10 of those, and at the end of November we'll put them all together, and on the 1st of December we'll combine the winter updates with the seasonal models, and we'll create a forecast on the 1st of December for the winter of 2016-2017. So it's all getting not to the end stage now, but it is getting towards the crunch stage where we've got to start getting a bit serious and trying to pin down exactly where this winter is going. There's still trying to have a bit of fun though, and that's what we're going to do for this second update. So I'll go on with that for you in a second. Before I get on with that, just to say about the ads, there's links to articles on all the pages. Have a browse through widgets and click through the links. If there's any articles that you're interested in, you're going to be helping us to pay for our website. Thanks very much for doing that. There's also video ads post pages, which own content, where you watch your close break at the end. It does help to pay for gasworthies.com. Going to be quite a long video. We've got 13 models to get through, so we're going to be here for some time. Find yourself a comfy chair and get yourself a cup of tea and a few biscuits, because we are going to be around for some time. And if you can't watch the video all in one go, don't worry, it will be put on the winter updates page later on today, probably Sunday evening. You're probably watching this Sunday morning on the home page, but later on we'll go on the winter updates page. There'll be a written summary to go with the video as well on the winter updates page, just discussing everything in a written form that we've talked about in the video. So if you can't watch it in one go this morning, don't worry, will be kept at website indefinitely. You can watch it on demand whenever you want it or whenever you need it. Most of the models can be found on the links page. Not got the full 13, haven't got the space for that, but most of the links to the models can be found on the links page. What else was I going to say? About winter updates. Now, we're not doing the 8th update until next week, but if you're missing the winter update, there will be a little mini update on the blog this afternoon. We'll have a look at the Gasworthy solar tracker. James has updated that for us, so that'll be on the blog this afternoon, Gasworthy solar tracker, and we'll also see how Scandinavian/Siberian/Russian snow cover has developed over the past week since we did the 7th update. So be a little mini update on the blog this afternoon. But the full 8th winter 2016-2017 update will be a week today, next Sunday. I think that's just about it for the announcements. So I guess I better get on with the second seasonal model roundup for winter of 2016-2017. So we're going to start off. The first 3 models that we start with don't cover the full winter period. They only cover from November to January. So the first 3 don't cover the full winter period, and then we'll go on to all the other models that cover the full winter period. Going to start off with the Russian model. This is temperature probability for November to January from the Russian long-range model, and it's coming out warmer than average. Looking at with those red colours there across the British Isles and most parts of northwestern Europe as well. So a mild winter being predicted by the Russian model this month. We go down to precipitation. And again, remember, this just covers November to January. It doesn't cover the full winter period. So precipitation, that comes out generally above normal, particularly around the UK, near normal over the land and above normal around the UK. That's perhaps because of the warm sea surface temperature. I'm not sure. But the signal generally for the Russian model this month is for a milder and probably slightly wetter than average early winter, and that is November to January. Next model is APEC. This is a collaboration of various Met agencies in the Southern Hemisphere. I think the main driving force behind this is the South Korean Met Agency, but other agencies are involved. I think Bureau of Meteorology in Australia is involved in this model, possibly the Japanese Meteorological Agency as well, and one or two others. So it's a collaboration type model, but it is mainly primarily from South Korea. So this is 500 millimeter height anomaly for the November to January period again, so we're not covering full winter yet, just November to January. We find above average heights to the east, and they do extend in across many northern and western parts of Europe as well. The temperature anomaly is coming out milder than average for most northern parts of Europe. A mild early winter is being seen there, and then in terms of precipitation, it comes out near normal from APEC. So probably a fairly dry signal, I would have thought, that with those 500 millibar height anomalies. Then we go through to the JMA. Now, of course, we did JMA Saturday, a week yesterday, and I'm not going to have time to go through all the information that you can get from the JMA model for this update, but I'm going to show you the mean anomaly for the 3 months of November to January, and then we will have a look at the individual 500 millibar height anomalies for November through January, because they are quite interesting. You can't really get a lot out of this 3 monthly mean this month, actually. So this is the 3 monthly 500 millibar height anomaly for November through to January. Remember, it doesn't cover the full winter period this month. We see we've got a signal for above average heights to the west, and if you come over this side of the chart, below average heights to the east, which probably means the mean wind flow is at least sort of from the northwest, possibly at times from the north. But it is quite a weaker signal. That's because we've got a lot of intra-month variation over coming free. So I'm going to show you the 500 heights in a moment. The actual temperature anomaly for November to January comes out a little bit milder than average. The precipitation anomaly for November to January from JMA is coming out wetter than average, above average rainfall. And the mean wind arrows, you can't really make these out all that well, I don't think, but the mean wind direction for November to January is northerly, being predicted to be from the north, which you would have thought would be a colder signal for the temperatures. So let's have a look and break this down on a month-by-month basis with the JMA. So this is 500 millibar height only for November. This doesn't really have much to do with the winter, because it's the last month of autumn, actually. But for November, we find below average heights to the northwest, above average heights to the south, and probably bringing in a westerly flow, so fairly Atlantic-driven signal for November. December is the one that we're interested in, and then January, because that's covering the early and middle winter period. So in December, this is 500 millibar height anomaly. Big ridge across Scandinavia, extending back into western parts of Russia. A lot of yellow up here over the North Pole into green as well. And then a trough to the south, which does turn the winds into the east. When we had did JMA Saturday and had a look at this in detail, we did see that December is forecast to be quite an easterly month. Not a cold month particularly, though, and the reason, just the way the trough and the ridge are aligning. Although we have got easterlies, the wind is coming from the east, the air is originating actually from the south. So what's going on there is that we're bringing up the air from the south and then bringing it via easterlies into the UK. So that's why it's not a particularly cold month in December. Nevertheless, I would suspect it would be a bit colder than average, and there would be some wintry potential. And then January, most interesting of all, because the above average heights extend up to the north. So we've got a scene for a lot of blocking there to the north of Scandinavia, around Svalbard, and going down in towards Greenland as well. There's a trough centred across central parts of Europe, and the upshot with that one is that we're bringing the winds in from the east and the northeast, and that's a cold month. We did say that is a cold month in January, that the JMA is predicted in terms of its 500 millibar height anomaly anyway. The model wasn't predicting a particularly cold month, but we said it's probably wrong, probably overdoing the temperatures, and that is likely to be a cold month in January. So breaking this down month by month, it looks as though things get colder as we progress through the winter, get to January. We haven't got February yet, of course, but we get to January, and that does look a pretty cold signal for January. I've spent more time on this than normal because I rate the JMA very highly. It is at the better end of the long range model, so I rate model highly. And that 3 monthly mean anomaly that we started with this month isn't very representative, I didn't think, of exactly how the pattern is panning out over the next 3 months. So I thought I'd just go into that a little bit longer than normal. But of course, we did do JMA Saturday a week yesterday, and you can still check that video out if you would like to do that. I'm going to go South Africa next. This is a new model. I haven't used this very often. I think we might have used it last month or the month before, just once, but haven't got any particular history with this model, so we'll see how it goes. Starting off with temperature anomalies, this is for the full winter period. Every model you see now is going to cover the full winter from December through to February. So temperature anomalies from the South African model this winter are coming out milder than average, and quite substantially so as well. The precipitation anomaly is coming out wetter than average. Let me just check the scale, as I'm not familiar. Yes, that is wetter than average. So it's a mild wet winter being seen by the South African model. Going to the Americas next. We're going to start off with South America in Brazil. This is the 500 millibar high anomaly for the winter, December to February. This is a rather odd-looking chart. Not sure quite what's going on here. These charts are always a bit odd looking, I have to say, and they do things the opposite way. So blue on these charts is extrapolate to high pressure, and there isn't much red there, but the sort of orange and red colours are extrapolating to low pressure. Typically on a 500 millibar height anomaly, that's the other way around, but this is the one model that always does things differently. Anyway, we've got I have to change the colour. We've got above average heights clearly to the north around Greenland. There's above average heights down in the southeast of Europe as well. So we've got high pressure here, high pressure up here. You would have thought this area is likely to be low pressure. It's not particularly low, it's only sort of average, just slightly above average in terms of the 500 millibar high anomaly. But I reckon what will be going on here is that I've got a trough of low pressure just here and going into the Atlantic and probably extending into there as well. Above average heights up here, bringing a mild winter to eastern parts of Europe. And then this above average heights to the north around Greenland, probably entrenching cold air into the trough. So somewhere in the middle Atlantic, it's like to have a cold winter, but it is actually quite an Atlantic-driven signal. So probably, excuse me, probably a mild Atlantic-driven signal here from the Brazilian model. That's what the temperature anomaly is doing. It's above average. So you have to say we've got a bit of a trend here for a milder than average winter so far. Nothing particularly cold showing up, though, as I explained, the JMA, just by the 500 millibar high anomaly that it's going for, particularly in January, would deliver cold weather. Even if the model doesn't really see it, it would be cold. But so far, nothing particularly cold showing up in terms of the temperature anomalies. Precipitation anomaly coming out above average. So the Brazilian and South African models are in agreement for a mild, wet winter, and the Russian is there as well. Let's go north. We'll go through to Canada next. This is the CAN6 model from the website tropicaltidbits.com. Find the link, Tropical Tidbits, on the links page. This is the mean sea level pressure anomaly for the winter. And generally, I think it's slightly above average heights, really. There is a bit of intramonth variation from December through January through February. But overall, I think fairly anticyclonic signal. That is backed up by the temperature precipitation anomalies. Temperature anomalies are coming out pretty much average, maybe a little bit above. Most of Europe having a milder than average winter. And then the precipitation anomaly, that one comes out more or less average, just actually slightly drier than average. Not a great deviation either way in terms of either temperatures or precipitation. Would be quite a benign winter, I think, man. Lots of quiet weather, probably a little bit on the milder side, probably a little bit on the drier side, but nothing terribly exciting going on there. This is the experimental NASA model. Now, if you're waiting for something a bit colder to turn up, this is a bit more interesting. This is the 500 millibar height anomaly from NASA for the winter. This is, again, December through to February. Got the red colours up to the north, above average heights, high pressure, and also extending into Scandinavia, which you will think, if you come over to this side of the chart, you will think is probably producing easterly winds. Now, we don't see any troughs. I think something's gone a bit wrong with this chart. So I think this area just here in the Central Atlantic is a trough, and they've probably got a trough here through southern parts of Europe. So low pressure there, high pressure up there, and the upshot, I would have thought, is to be bringing the winds in from the east, particularly to central parts of Europe, maybe extending into British Isles as well. So that looks like a colder than average winter signal. Actually, the temperature anomalies are still milder than average, but notice that many central parts of Europe are coming out colder than average, interestingly, and the reason that's happening is that there's a ridge up here, there's low pressure down here, and the upshot is to have the winds coming in from the east. Now, for us, we're perched on the edge of Europe between the ocean and the cold continental landmass, so for us, the model is placing us in the mild maritime air, but I reckon, based on the 500 millibar height anomaly, maybe we are in a very difficult place in the world, perched between the warm ocean, or warm in winter, warm ocean, and the cold landmass. Very, very difficult for these models, just fractions in it, really, in terms of what they're looking at, parameters they're looking at. Very difficult for them to predict. I think with that sort of 500 millibar height anomaly, all this above average heights up here, high pressure, and over Scandinavia as well, I reckon that cold air would be reaching us, at least at times anyway. So a colder than average winter would be my call from what the NASA model is going for. Precipitation, no real signal, just coming out average with that one. Hwoy van der Doel next, our good friend Hwoy, and these are analog-based forecasts. So what Hwoy does is he takes sea surface temperature anomalies in any given month. In this case, the anomalies were from September. Looked at how the oceans temperature anomalies were looking in September, and then compared those temperature anomalies back to previous years, and then from there created a forecast, saw what weather was like following on from those years that he's looked at, and created a forecast. And this is the 500 millibar height anomaly for the winter. This is a bit of a change on what Hwoy van der Doel has been going for over the past few updates that we've been doing. We haven't done many updates, but it's a bit of a change on last month anyway. What Hwoy does is places a trough over the UK that extends it down into Central Europe. There's above average heights across Scandinavia, and also, interestingly, going up towards Greenland as well. Very close, that is, to a cold winter. Now, the temperature anomaly for us is coming out about average, so not a mild winter, but round average. Again, notice many central parts of Europe coming out colder than average. So we've got agreement between Hwoy van der Doel and the NASA model for Central Europe to be cold. And I think, again, based on that 500 millibar height anomaly, with a trough over UK and elongated down in central parts of Europe, we will probably have at least some cold weather from the east with that one. Precipitation is coming out above average. You're expecting, because there's a trough part right over the top of the UK, and that could be quite a cold trough at times. So that will give us the risk, no more than that, but it will give us the risk of some wintry conditions, I would have thought. So NASA and Hwoy van der Doel, not straightforward, but do go more towards the colder end of things. CFS V2, finally, for the Americas. This is from the United States itself. Hwoy van der Doel, by the way, works within the umbrella of NOAA in America, but he's sort of independent, I think. So this is the NOAA model. This is CFS V2, 700 millibar height anomaly. This has flipped from last month. Last month it was implying the chance of some interesting weather this winter with blocking to the north. It's reduced that blocking a lot, and look what it's going for now. Below average heights around Iceland, above average heights through the Atlantic and going into Europe as well. And the jet stream, very flat, coming across the Atlantic. So it's going now for a mild Atlantic-driven winter is the CFS V2. So this is the rather shocking temperature anomaly that it's going for. Real blowtorch warmth again this winter, if the model is right, with all parts of Europe from Iceland, Ireland, and, well, just about into Portugal in the west, through to Russia in the east, or actually Russia's over there, Russia in the east, all parts in between, looking milder than average, and quite substantially so as well. So clearly it's going for a mild Atlantic-driven winter, and that's good for jet stream coming through like that. The precipitation normally you expect to be wetter than average, and that is what it's doing for Northern Europe anyway. It looks wetter than average. Southern Europe implied to be a bit drier than average, so we've got high pressure down here, got low pressure up here, and that's the jet stream coming through just there. So CFS V2 very much now in the mild Atlantic-driven winter camp. And you have to say there's not a huge amount to go on here for cold lovers so far. I know this will be a little bit disappointing to many of you if you want a cold winter. A lot of these models seem to be shifting into a milder winter scenario. Not entirely sure why that has happened this month, but that's certainly the direction many of these models are going at. This is our interpretation of the ECMWF seasonal model. This is mean sea level pressure for December to February. Again, this is covering full winter period. This is in the colder camp. It's indicating high pressure to be around Greenland and Iceland, low pressure to be around Spain and into France, with the upshot, you would have thought, winds coming in from the east. I think the ECMWF is in the colder camp of these models this month. The temperature anomaly was nothing to get excited about, as they very often are with these long-range models. I've explained it before. They are long-range models, so they are a little bit biased towards milder than average temperatures. Nevertheless, northwestern Europe is generally cooler than southern and eastern parts of Europe, where it looks quite warm. So again, that does imply that we've got probably high pressure going on up here and up here, and a cooler air coming down from the northeast. It's just overestimating the temperatures, as these long-range models are prone to do. This warmth in the east of Europe is probably being produced by southerly winds, because one of the way nature balances itself out is that we've got the trough just here, we've got the ridge up here and up here, so high pressures up there, low pressures down there, and then there'll be another ridge just here which will pull up the warmth into the east, southeast Europe, where northern and western parts of Europe are cold, so the eastern parts of Europe tend to be warmer, and vice versa. So east and southeast Europe probably has a mild winter, northern and western Europe has a colder winter. Precipitation anomaly looks like this. So it's going for drier than average conditions around Iceland and out into the northwest of British Isles. Wetter than average down here. So again, this is all indicative of the jet stream being, sorry about that, the jet stream being on a southerly track. And then we've got all of high pressure up here. So the ECMWF is in the cold winter camp of things. I am quite sure about that, although the temperature normally wasn't anything to be particularly excited about. We're coming towards the end now. Only 3 models left, so we're going to do the Beijing Climate Centre next. This is the new version of the Beijing Climate Centre. I think it's had an upgrade this past few months. It disappeared for a little while, if you remember. We didn't include it in many of the autumn updates. It's back, but it's a new model. We're in the same place on the map that it was before, but because the colours are more intense, it's actually harder to make us out. But nevertheless, we are up here in that sort of far right-hand corner of the chart, top right-hand corner of the chart, as you're looking at it. So this is the mean pressure anomaly, 500 millibar height anomaly for the winter. This is again going from December through to February. We find above average heights to the north, below average heights down to the south, and the flow, you would have thought, is probably going to be coming in from the east. Quite a bit of northern blocking being signalled there. We have got a lot of red going on up here, which does imply to me, and again over here on this side of the chart, does imply to be northern blocking. Temperature anomaly, again, isn't anything to be excited about, generally coming out milder than average. Not sure why that's particularly so based on its height anomaly. And again, over Scandinavia, looks milder than average, which you would think goes with high pressure up there. I think probably the model is overestimating the temperatures a little bit. And I can tell you that if we broke this down month by month, I haven't got time to do it, but if we did break this down month by month, February is the coldest of the winter months, with December and January a little bit on the milder side. Precipitation, that's quite interesting, because what goes on with precipitation is at the north and west is signalled to be a bit wetter than average, and England and Wales signalled to be a bit drier than average. Again, I'm going to check the scale to make sure that's right. It is. So Scotland and Northern Ireland comes out slightly wetter than average, England and Wales slightly drier than average. Again, not sure quite why that would be, because we know that for the 500 millibar height anomaly, there's a trough seemingly down here and a ridge up here, which you would have thought would mean the north is drier than the south. But anyway, that's what it's doing for its precipitation anomaly. The JAMSTEC model is our penultimate model, and that's going for a colder than average winter, as it very often does. I've explained that most of these long-range models are biased on the milder side. JAMSTEC is the one model, don't know why, but it's the one model that seems to be a little bit biased on the colder side of things. So JAMSTEC, yes, it's going for a colder than average winter for the UK and much of Scandinavia as well. Haven't seen many models that have had a cold average temperature anomaly, so if you want a cold winter, that is one to savour. The precipitation anomaly looks drier than average to the north and west of the UK, so it implies high pressure could be up here, with low pressure around Spain, where it's wetter than average. So that's the reason, presumably, why it's a cold winter, because the flow will be coming in from the east and the northeast. JAMSTEC is going for a colder than average winter. And then finally, we're at the end now, finally, our very own UK Met Office GLOW-C 5 model, and this one looks quite interesting as well. This is going for, with its mean sea level pressure anomaly, going for high pressure to be around Greenland. There's a trough of low pressure underneath it. You will think we're entrenching cold air into that trough, so I would place the UK Met into the colder camp this month, most definitely. Temperature anomalies, again, nothing to get excited about. Though it is cold and average to the northwest of the UK, near normal, slightly above average over the UK itself. Precipitation, that looks wetter than average over the UK and much of northern and western Europe. That's because there's low pressure there, with the high pressure giving drier than average conditions around Iceland and go down into the Atlantic. Again, that is indicative of high pressure being to the north and west and possibly bringing cold air into that trough of low pressure. So that's it. That's our 13, and a bit of a mixed bag, but there is throughout all of these quite a trend here for a milder than average winter. Now, as I've explained before, these are long-range / climate models, so they are a little bit biased, I think anyway, to milder conditions, and very often it doesn't turn out to be as mild as these models suggest. Nevertheless, it's quite a strong signal throughout the 13. I think we have had a shift towards a milder winter compared to what was going on in the first update, albeit there are several models that are still quite interesting. There's JAMSTEC, there's the UK Met, there's the ECMWF, the NASA model, Hwoy, Vanador. So there's plenty of interest in there, but I think we've shifted a little bit onto the milder side of things. But by no means be running away with the idea, but it is definitely going to be a milder than average winter. And we've got one more of these season model updates to do at the end of November. It'll be very interesting to see whether these start to move back into the colder side of things. I really wouldn't rule that out this year, that next month we might actually see more models looking cold compared to what we've got this month. Right, so that's it. How long have we been talking about things? So we're nearly up to 30 minutes. We have about 13 models to get through, so I don't think we've done too badly. Don't forget, later on today, we are going to have a little mini winter update on the blog, where we'll have a look at the solar tracker and also see what's happened with snow cover across Scandinavia and Russia over the past week. That'll be on the blog this afternoon. This video will be placed on the winter updates page this evening. There'll be a written report that goes with it as well. And at nearly 30 minutes, all that's left to say is I hope you enjoy the video, and thanks very much for watching. Bye for now.